Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone on Wednesday night. We're switching over to the Pirate Fan Zone, as you can see from the man that I very rarely have seen not smile in the – how long have we known each other? 25?
25 easy.
25 years. Will Flemons. I'm going to make him blush again. If you're not familiar with Will, besides being the Lubbock Cooper boys basketball coach, he's also one of the best players that ever put on a red and black Texas Tech uniform. One of your guys knew that last night when I talked to him after the game because I asked Bodie.
Oh, yeah.
I asked Bodie Marshall because watching you, I said, when Will Flemons is telling guys, get the ball inside to him, that's got to catch your attention. He goes, yeah, Coach was really good. So he knew. I was proud of him for that.
You know, Bodie's been carrying us for a while. I mean, he's had double, and, you know, it's baffled me sometimes when our guards don't see him.
Well, as you know, though, basketball's become outside in instead of inside out. So that's what they've learned to do. So I'm old school like you. I want to see the other. I enjoyed watching that game. By the way, Lubbock Cooper beat Plainview 61-55. That was two great games for December last night. Jade may not like the outcome, but it was a great game.
It was.
58-55, the Lubbock Cooper girls lost to Plainview. So you guys, that game was starting to look very similar to the girls' game. You had the double-digit lead. It sort of started to shrink, got a little bit smaller.
Yes, it did.
And then your guys buckled down. And I mentioned to you on the phone, the two guys I talked to, it wasn't the Bodie had good numbers, but it was because of the little plays they made in that fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
To kind of that you never lost the lead, and they made those little plays that helped a 2-point lead turn into 4 to turn into 6, and that's pretty important in a game like that.
Oh, it is. I think because we had such a short turnaround getting into district this year, we've tried to stack our schedule where we go in and we're playing some guys that is going to make you understand, and you got to, you know, what we call it, you got to be a dog sometime. Mm-hmm. And they are. They're playing hard. They're when it game's on the line, they're coming up with the big plays for us, and so we're going to continue to do that. You speaking of that situation, that's what we worked on today is situations. When do you shoot the basketball? What are you looking for? It's one of those things where you have to know that at all points of the game.
I think I mentioned this to you the last time we were here. The evolution of Will Flemons, the Lubbock Cooper coach. The first year, you were about ready to jump off the bench when guys even looked at a three-pointer. And last night I was listening to you saying, put it up. Now, you mentioned there was one three-point shot taken late that probably wasn't the best time for it. But high school kids,
absolutely,
it's got to – you don't learn until you've touched the stove a few times that it's going to burn you.
Absolutely. And, you know, and we talked about that today when we had athletics. I said, you know, it wasn't a bad shot if it went in. But when you go back and look at it, it wasn't anybody between you and the lane. You know, I'm okay with taking a layup, especially late part of the game, but we don't have to have that when we have the lead. And I try to explain to him, you got to understand time, situation, momentum, and possession. And those are those key elements that you got to understand that to win games.
Again, we live in a different era because guys see the home run and they want to hit the home run and put the foot on the throw. I've got a teenager at home, so I get it. They live differently than we did, man. So, but that was a big win. You guys are 2-0 in district.
Yes, sir.
And your district is 18 games? 16?
Let's see. It's 19 this year, so it's 16.
16, which is just a grind.
It is a huge grind because nothing's easy. I mean, you see teams that are, you know, maybe shaky right off the bat, but they get stronger as they play along in the season. So no game's guaranteed. You got to go out and play your best ball each night.
Did you even enjoy Thanksgiving, or were you already starting to stress out about the district season? Because that's how quickly you had to kind of adjust.
It turns quick. You know, and it's one of those things, you know, you always have to take time out for family. My family has been basketball forever, so they understand, hey, Dad's going to be Dad for a little bit, but he's going to leave the room. He's got to go to his room. He's got to watch the film and get it down. So, you know, it's one of those things. It is what it is. I wish we didn't start district so early, but like I said, it is what it is, and you got to get our best foot forward for our kids.
I bet there's some wicked pickup games at the Flemons holiday gatherings.
It used to be. It used to be until I played my boys one time, and I stood him up. He's going baseline, and he hit me, and he knocked my back out of place. I was like, that's it for me.
That makes sense. I can totally understand that. Luckily, I've got 2 daughters, so they didn't have any interest in knocking me down. So the Pirates are now, I want to make sure I get this right, 9-5 overall, and that 9-5 is a little bit deceiving because of the schedule they played. You told me last night that all 5 losses are to 6A teams,
yes, sir. Which
Trent Hilliard was just here. We were talking about in girls basketball, the A's don't matter. West Texas girls basketball, it's a little bit different in boys. 5A and 6A, 4A, there is some difference, especially when you start going to the Metroplex, start going to Abilene. So that's an impressive start. We're going to talk more with Will Flemons on the Pirate Fan Zone when we come back on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Lubbock Cooper Athletics. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Confidence is in his 6th year.
Yes, sir.
Because I started my website the year before you got here. You were one of the first summer stories I did on the website because that was a big hire. You came back. You were at Paducah as the principal at the time?
Principal.
Because this man's resume is one of the most interesting resumes of any coach I've ever covered because you've gone from playing basketball at Tech. Did you get a cup of coffee in the NBA?
I was drafted late 2nd round to Sacramento Kings. Opted out because at that time I could make more money going overseas.
Right.
Went overseas to France, played a little bit of ball there, came back, had a little contract over at the Philippines. That's when I blew out my knee, and then Coach Dickey was gracious enough to get me back in the college ranks, and that's kind of where I was for a long time. And then high school called me home.
Well, 25 years ago when I met him, he was on James Dickey's staff. But you went from there to coach the Wayland Baptist women, one of the arguably the most tradition-rich basketball program in this part of the state, regardless of level. Then moved to the Houston area.
Yes, sir.
Coach boys and girls down there?
Yes, sir, I did. Started out with the girls. They hadn't won in 11 years, and we were fortunate enough to turn that program around in 2 years and got to the playoffs. And then my son was becoming a high school player. They could play a little bit, and then that job came open, and they offered me the job to coach the boys.
And then moved back home to Paducah,
back home
coached
Paducah.
And principal.
Yep. Yeah. So we did that, and my youngest son finished up, that's coaching at Lubbock High, finished up at Paducah, and so coached there for a while and was a principal. And then it's funny how I got the job here. My mother-in-law called me and said, they got an opening at Lubbock Cooper. And so I called just questioning, and Cat Winkle, he was like talking to me, hey, you know what, you need to come on in. And I said, okay. He said, well, what's a good time? And so I remember it was when I called, it was a Tuesday. He said, well, why don't you come in on Wednesday? I said, well, I can't. I got this to do. I said, but I can be there Thursday. So we talked and just hit it off. So
if there's 2 guys in West Texas that you don't have to work very hard to get along with, Max Catwinkle and Will Flemons are pretty high on that list. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And we've talked about this. Every year that I've watched you guys, you continually get better. I'm going to let you say Obi's last name because I'm afraid I'll butcher it.
I'm going to let Obi say his last name.
Okay. Obi, hold on just a second here.
I always butcher it.
Introduce yourself, Obi.
Okay. Hi, my name is Obiezo Swaji. I go by Obi.
That's what I'm going to call you, Obi, because I'm afraid I don't want to. I'd probably offend most members of your family if I tried to say that. Obi, you get to talk for a few minutes here. We're a little bit shorter segments now that it's post-football season, but Coach and I have been talking. You guys win last night. That was a big win for you. Why have you guys found ways to win like that so far?
Well, I
pull that up a little closer.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I think the coach has really emphasized team chemistry. We've been building a lot of team chemistry all the way since August, really, and I think we've got a lot of skill. Like we're really undersized, but I think we got a lot of heart. I mean, we like to play defense. We like to push it in transition. We just do whatever the coaches ask us to, I think. So I think that's why we've been able to find success.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked a couple of your teammates last night. You guys had Amari last year, who was a go-to guy. If you needed points, you could go to him and he could score. You may not have a guy like that, but you have more guys do different things. How much funner does that make it this season?
It makes things more interesting, to say the least, because at least I feel like anybody on any given night could be the leading scorer. Just anyone could have the hot hand, so that just makes things interesting. It makes us unpredictable as well, you know.
How big was last night's win for you guys to play that well? Plainview come back on you, knock at the door a little bit, and you guys held them off.
Well, it was really big. Going up 2-0, I feel like we have a chance to do a repeat of last year, I feel like, and go for that gold ball again.
Well, and Will, that's where I was talking to you about. Your teams, if watching you the first 5 years you've been here, every year you get better, you gradually get better. You get into about February, and all of a sudden you guys are starting to find it. You're really good. You hit a little bit of a lull at the end of last year, but what is it about the Lubbock Cooper kids and your coaching style that meshes and that allows that to happen?
Well, I think as a coach, you just can't go in there and say, I'm going to coach this way. You got to coach the talent of your players. This year is like Obi kind of commented on. We do a lot better when we push the basketball, get it up and down a little bit. And when you do that, you can't change your players. You need to change your coaching style and to help your players. And I think we do that. You know, sometimes it's hard with change, but I've embraced it because it's best for our team. We're going to do what's best for our team. If it's push the basketball, we're going to push the basketball. I think with our guys, it's their skill set. They can all handle the basketball. We're putting out guys, all 5 of them, push the ball down the floor, can dish the basketball, can shoot the basketball. It makes us, like Obi said, unpredictable. And any given night, we can score.
Defense doesn't have to be unpredictable. You guys still play a little bit of defense. How much is that kind of connected to the way this guy coaches?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
The fact that you guys are still going to play defense, how much does Coach emphasize that?
He emphasizes it a lot. Even when, you know, we go on a little bit of a run offensively, they're always telling us on the sideline, get a stop, because it really just controls the momentum of the game, allows us to, you know, control it in our favor. And,
you guys have a lot of ingredients this year. In this district, it's a little bit different. You're playing the 4 Amarillo teams are there with you, so a little bit different. We talked about how soon it starts, but we didn't talk about – we'll talk about that next time, about how good the district – not that it's been bad in the past, but it's much different now. Lubbock Cooper is 2-0 in district, 9-5 overall. They go up to Caprock on Friday, and then one more game before
we will play Lubbock High, and then right before the Christmas break, we'll go to Tascosa.
Okay. Well, no rest for the not so wicked. That is going to do it on the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We'll be back after the break with the Patriot Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta.